Hello, this is meteorologist Bill Steffen. Hope you had yourself a great weekend. A lot going on over the weekend. It's the start of tulip time, and boy, Holland was packed. They also had Hope College graduation. Kalamazoo Marathon was on, thousands of people down there for that. And there were a lot of other activities going on as well. And this should be a pretty good week. There is a chance of a shower early and late this Monday, and a chance for a few showers on Tuesday. But I think the rest of the week looks dry. And it should be great weather for the big parades over in Holland. Tulip time parades come on Thursday. That's the Kinder Parade. And on Saturday, the big parade of bands. And that's a 2-hour parade, but they should have quite a crowd there. The parade route is shortened this year. They're ending the parade at Collin Park rather than down at the high school. So that's a little different. And we'll see if everybody can pack into that mile there. But that's a very well-attended parade. And we're going to start you out at the beach today. Take a look at this. Muskegon beach temperatures. The Muskegon beach temperature on Sunday at 6 o'clock was 66 degrees, fairly pleasant, kind of on the mild side. 1 hour later, it had dropped 18 degrees, and that was because the wind shifted just a little bit. Wind was northeast at 6 o'clock coming off the land, and by 7 o'clock, that wind had turned northwest off the water. And boy, you can see what happened. That's a picture from, was this early Sunday or late Saturday? I don't know, but there's a passing ship out in the water there, and one little boat probably fishing over closer to the breakwater there. More information from the lakeshore today. I want to pass along that the Lake Express ferry is running again. They make 2 trips a day back and forth between Muskegon and Milwaukee. If you're interested, the Badger up in Ludington, their first day of taking the ferry across is going to be May 16th. I believe they only make 1 trip a day out of Ludington, but they can hold up to 100 cars. I know that because my car was the 100th car to come off the boat when we landed in Ludington. I kept looking for my car and I didn't see it, but finally it came out, last one. But the ferries are running again, and that is certainly a sign of spring. Well, let's take a look at the severe weather for the next several days. We got a lot to talk about. There's what meteorologists call an omega block going on, and that means that the systems are kind of stagnant across the country. And there's some unusual things going on. This is the severe weather threat for later on today. That area that's in orange down there in West Texas is going to see some large hail, very large hail perhaps, along with the possibility of wind damage and an isolated tornado or two. And you can see that marginal risk area extends up into Colorado. There's 2 other marginal risk areas. One is in eastern Florida, where there could be some gusty thunderstorm winds, and another area from Lake Erie on down toward northeastern North Carolina. So an interesting thing. And by the way, you don't see it on here, but there'll be a chance of a thunder shower in the desert southwest there, Las Vegas, all the way down to Phoenix. Phoenix area was getting a couple of thunder showers here Sunday evening. And it was really interesting to see the difference in temperatures. It was in the 80s Sunday up in North Dakota, but at the same time, it was just 69 in Las Vegas. And they may not get out of the 60s here this Monday. Phoenix was only 70. Average high for them is 90. So indeed, it's pretty cool out there. And it was raining in the upper 50s in San Diego. You don't see that too often in May. They don't get very many rainy hours there. We go on to Tuesday now for the severe weather threat. And you can see that area shifts from West Texas to East Texas. The Storm Prediction Center says all severe hazards will be possible, plus there is the possibility for some heavy rain. In fact, a couple of our computers are printing out over 5 inches of rain for parts of Texas into Louisiana. So that's where the heavy rain is going to be. Eventually, some of that rain is going to find daughter number 3 in Birmingham, Alabama. All right, let's move on here. And we have to thank our sponsors at the current time. So here's the message.
Oh, some rain definitely found me in Birmingham, Alabama. The last 2 days at the airport were something.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. And it's not. I mean, you got Dallas being a hub, so you got I mean, there wasn't a problem there today, but I think later today into Tuesday there could be some problems.
My phone tracked me walking 8.8 miles on that one shift.
Wow.
And that does not cover handling hundreds of bags as well.
That's like going around Mackinac Island on the outer trail and then climbing back up to the hotel.
Right? It was something. It was one of the busiest times that it's ever been. It felt like recovering from running a half marathon.
Wow.
Well,
Well,
anyways,
more of that.
so Complete Care Concierge has us covered by being a Bill Steffen sponsor, and they have you covered as well. They are the fast, efficient, and affordable cleaning service serving all of West Michigan. 616-264-1397. They can clean your home, your apartment, your condo, your office, your business space. They can do special circumstances. They can do routine cleaning. Whatever you need, they have you covered. 616-264-1397. And here's a word from our other sponsor.
When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask Ace? We're always here to help with Ace Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. Ace Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Let's look at our headlines. There'll be a chance of a shower today, early and late. Probably the best chance for a shower or even a thunder shower will be south of I-94 during the 5 to 8 o'clock time period. If you're down toward Coldwater, Sturgis, down in there could be a random shower storm. Can't rule one out up here, but in the Grand Rapids area, but most of the day is going to turn out to be dry. Shouldn't be too bad a day to be outside with some comfortable temperatures. Showers are possible on Tuesday. That's our best chance of rain here this week. Dry weather on Wednesday, maybe 10 or 15% chance of a shower, but most areas are dry. Wouldn't worry about it. And we'll definitely be dry here Thursday, Friday, and probably Saturday as well. So like I said, the big parades in Holland are looking excellent this year. All right, let's take a look then at what's going on nationally here. Look at all that area that's in yellow. Now, if you see the scale over on the right side, yellow is an inch to an inch and a half. And look at the large area from Colorado all the way down toward Louisiana and Mississippi. The red area indicates, what would that be there? 4 inches of rain or more. And you can see the rain extends up into the Rocky Mountains where some of that will turn to snow. And look at the rain in Arizona. How about that? Almost everybody in the state picking up on measurable rain. Most everybody in New Mexico, and more scattered showers into Southern California. Pretty unusual pattern. Now, you can see the rain over in New England and the New York area where they should see 1 to 1.5 inches of rain. Some places as much as 3 inches of rain over a 3-day period. I think I included a slide of Michigan. If we can take a look at that, the Michigan area should see anywhere from, in that dark green area, there could be as much as an inch. That's over toward Lansing and east of Lansing, a little narrow area there. There could be a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch coming mainly Monday night and Tuesday into Grand Rapids. And you can see how rainfall amounts taper off. There's places up there toward Ludington, which may not even get 1/10 of an inch of rain out of this. So again, for Tuesday, mainly the heaviest rain will be east and southeast of Grand Rapids. Now let's take a look at snow. And boy, there's going to be a ton of it out in the western United States mountains once again. A lot of moisture up there. And while they're getting thunderstorms in the plains area of eastern Colorado, they're going to get heavy snow on some of the high mountains there. And look at what this says here. They've issued a winter storm warning for many of the mountains of Colorado. That'll be in effect from noon Monday to 6 a.m. on Wednesday. And they say, quote, heavy snow expected, total snow accumulations of 14 to 32 inches. Can you imagine that? That's almost 3 feet of snow. And it's in the higher elevations, 11,000 feet and above. And the wet mountains, I don't know if that's a physical group of mountains. I would assume that that's probably just the mountains that are getting the heaviest precipitation above 10,000 feet. So they're going to be skiing right into the summer out there in Colorado. And you can see the snow bands extend up into the higher mountains of Montana, up into Wyoming, the mountainous areas east of Salt Lake City. There's even some snow in the high mountains of Arizona. And in the Sierras, again, a little bit of snow that's falling there. But Colorado gets the brunt of this one. All right, let's take a look then at the forecast for the day today. We're looking for temperatures up into the low 60s. There is a chance of a shower. Same thing for overnight, especially Monday night into early Tuesday. That's probably our most likely time for rain. 62, average high temperature is 66, so we're a little cooler than average there. Humidity down to about 65% in the afternoon. Winds will be northeast at 5 to 15 miles an hour. So again, much of the day it will not be raining. High temperatures on the day today. We're looking for readings to be generally in the low 60s around the Grand Rapids area. I think with the wind northeast not coming in off the lake, Ludington gets into the low 60s as well, and it will be cooler across the lake. You can see with that northeast wind, temperatures are only in the low 50s over toward the Milwaukee area. Coolest temperatures will be down toward the Indiana border, where there'll be clouds and more showers, and much of the day there will only be in the mid-50s, about 5 degrees cooler than Grand Rapids. And then we'll take a look at high temperatures here during the day on Monday. We're looking for, that was Monday. This is Monday. Okay, we got Monday up here. Temperatures in the low 60s, and you can see again temperatures are cooler on the other side of Lake Michigan. So let's take a look at the forecast heading out into 5 days or so. We'll be able to show you that Monday, just a 50-50 chance of a shower. Tuesday, that would be most likely time would be during the morning, but it could rain at any time during the day. Both days, low 60s, again, about 4 degrees, 5 degrees cooler than average. Wednesday looking pretty good. Chance of rain is just 15%, 70 degrees, the high temperature in the afternoon. Slightly cooler than for Thursday and Friday, but with a lot of sunshine. And temperatures should be in the low 70s next weekend, with just really some excellent conditions shaping up here. So if you're looking to get outdoors here late this week or over next weekend, it's looking pretty good at this point. The latest long-range outlook, again, shows very little change. Temperatures ever so slightly warmer than average. Cool conditions on the West Coast, where it's been relatively cold. Some of the temperatures were running 10 to even 12 degrees cooler than average in California today. And then in terms of rainfall, here's the way it looks. We're going to be seeing our rainfall totals below average once again in the Great Lakes. Some rains down in Florida, not too big a problem for them. They could use the rain, and rain doesn't last all day down there. But again, some stormy weather expected in the west from the Rockies back into the Pacific Northwest. So all in all, not a bad forecast. Outside chance of a shower here during the day today, early and late. Best bet for that would be down toward the Indiana border. So we have the bluebird of happiness. Here
Isn't that a great bluebird?
It looks like, from a distance. I'm looking at it from way far away. It almost looks like the bird's wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, that's
As
true.
we get closer, it doesn't quite look like that, but that's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, a beautiful picture.
Yeah, and we get bluebirds are related to robins. You don't see them too often at bird feeders, so we don't see them. We don't notice them as much as we might some other birds that hang around the feeder all day. I have a chickadee that spends the whole day, I think, at my bird feeder. But that's a great picture, John. Thanks for sending that in.
Okay, so I thought tonight it would be fun to play a game.
Uh-oh.
So you've talked several times about how you actually used to do a lot of radio, and you would have different radio voices for the different types of stations, like a rock station versus easy listening, etc.
Oh yeah. I mean, I remember going like, "Hey, this is Bill Steffen for Rock FM out of Coopersville," and then you turn around and go, "This is Bill Steffen for the Mellow Station."
Yeah. So okay, I thought it would be fun if I'm going to put up a Grand Rapids radio station logo, and you're going to introduce yourself in the manner and style of what we've got going on.
You assume I know every radio station in town.
Oh, I think you'll get these. Okay, ready? Here's your first one. Oh, I'm sorry. That was the slide I made to introduce this.
DJ impressions.
I'm pretty sure we own something similar to that radio thing. Okay, here we go.
Hey, this is Wood Radio, 106.9 FM, 1300 AM. Traffic is coming up next, then weather, then more talkity right here on Wood Radio.
Very good.
Hey, this is Bill Steffen on WGRD, the latest top hits for you. That's the one that you would listen to, going back to GRD. That's the one that a lot of the younger audience would listen to. Mm-hmm. And I know DJs who are 70 years old that can do great DJ work for a younger demo station. But, you got free beer and hot wings and just some great people over there on some of the other stations. All right, look, you had WCSG there. Well, today here on WCSG, here's the latest traffic report. Coming up next, we've got the latest top hits for you. And by the way, let me mention a big congratulations. The morning team is splitting up on WCSG. I don't know how many people are aware of that. Amanda is going to be taking another job so she can be home during the daytime with her kids. And her hubby will be soloing for a while on WCSG. And
I saw that when I went to their website to pull up this graphic.
Mm-hmm. And they are, by the way, the #1 station in town in terms of total listeners.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
that
how I chose
is
these.
unusual to have a Christian station, a religious station being the #1. But they have DJs there 24/7, I believe. I don't know if the night may be syndicated. I'm not sure. And they get out in the community. They just do a great job. They really do.
Yeah, that's how I chose these. I pulled up the list of most popular ones in Grand Rapids, but I'd actually heard that about WCSG.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things. Wood Radio carries Tiger game, so I was listening to the Tiger game. They scored 13 runs. My dad, when he was at work, they had a 13-run club. And if your team, they had somebody would you pull a team out of the hat, and then you were that team for the week. And if their team scored exactly 13 runs, then you got to take the money that was in the kitty.
Oh, fun!
So, yeah, so that was technically that was illegal to do back then, but everybody did it anyway.
I job shadowed at WCSG for a week in the 11th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you for having me. That was awesome back in 1999.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Now I don't know if I have the story quite right on the spot. By the way, I was going to mention B93 is always up there amongst the top 3 stations too. So salute to Clear Channel, iHeart, B93.
Well, B93 might be coming up. Let's keep going.
Well, hang on just a second here.
Oh, okay.
All right. Let me. When WCSG signed on the air, I think that was licensed to be a commercial station, and the commercial stations in town didn't want another station competing with it. So they were looking for a nonprofit to run it. And I think they went to Hope College and Calvin to ask them if they wanted to run a radio station, that they would help set them up. Mm-hmm. And I hope I got the story right, that they said no. And then they went to the Grand Rapids Baptist College, which is
at Cornerstone. Yeah.
And they said, sure, we'll do it if you help us set it up. So the other stations in town helped to set them up, the #1 station in town. Mm-hmm. So isn't that crazy? Mm-hmm. But we have some fine people in radio in this market, and some people that have been around there. By the way, the record nationally, I think, for somebody being on the air that long was Juke Van Oss over at WHTC in Holland. He got on the air. The DJ wasn't there for some reason, snowstorm or something like that. So he was the engineer, and he just went on the air and did the show in 1951. And I think, would he have been on the air for like 65 years? He was in his 90s when he finally gave up radio for good. But
well, at the rate you're going,
yeah, maybe you never know.
All right, are we ready?
Let's go to the next one. I wanted to mention Star 105.7, which is the old Wood FM. If you remember in the old days. They would. There's a lot of stations now. There's the Spanish language stations, and there's more stations. In the old days, there was Bruce Grant. Everybody listened to Bruce Grant on Wood Radio. But Star 105.7, great station. Their transmitter is east of town, and they're one of the stations that goes to Christmas music. So here on Star 105.7 is Johnny Mathis singing "Chances Are." No, wait a minute. That's not a Christmas song, is it? Oh, whatever. Johnny Mathis. By the way, Johnny Mathis is still alive. He is, golly, almost 90 now.
How about Leroy Anderson's Sleigh Ride? That's a good Christmas song.
Oh, there we go. Yes, indeed. Or Nat King Cole.
Mm-hmm.
who my father met once, and then he was so excited to meet Nat King Cole out in California, believe it or not. So interesting. And there is B93 coming up. Yes, indeed. B93 is, it was interesting because country came to Grand Rapids, WCUZ, and I did the weather for WCUZ. Ron Dykstra was one of the salespeople that had his office when he was doing sales up at WCCM when I was there. But they had this dream of doing country music in here, and everybody said, "Oh no, it's not going to work." Oh, and it worked its way to the #1 station in town. And of course, CUZ isn't there anymore, but we have B93, which is a solid station. A lot of music on that station, and of course they were famous. They don't do it anymore, but they had the birthday bash.
Mm-hmm.
That was.
Yep, I remember one of the things. Every once in a while, we got to do cool stuff because of your job. And the summer that I took the bar exam, somehow we had ended up in box seats for Tim McGraw.
Mm-hmm.
And the general manager of Wood, I don't remember her name, but she was there and she was in the box with us. It was me and Marie and her, and we were watching this. And at one point she looked at me and said, "Why aren't you having any fun?" And I was like, "I am. The bar exam. You don't understand. I've spent the last 3 years of my life working on this thing, and it's in 2 weeks. And Tim McGraw's awesome, but the bar exam, I'm
Right.
sorry, it doesn't look like I'm having fun."
Right. And daughter number 2 is a country music fan, so she spent many an hour listening to B93.
But I was very grateful for the tickets. I just wasn't in a place to really enjoy it right at that moment.
Oh, I think that was fun. Tim used to walk up and down the aisles sometimes, with like 20 bodyguards. So it's interesting. He's been around a long time. Tim McGraw, golly, I think Marie started listening to Tim McGraw when he sang Memory Lane, which was way back in the early 90s. So it goes back a long time. But yeah, how many times has Marie seen Tim McGraw live?
I don't know. I know my answer. 1.
30 maybe.
Maybe.
She's driven to Indianapolis and believe Columbus, and I drove with her to Traverse City because she was 15. She had a driver's permit, and I let her drive home. And she was absolutely floored that I let her drive home. I went, "Why not? Got to learn sometime." But that was.
I know there's at least one more.
Okay. Blue Lake Public Radio. It's so neat because the Stansel started Blue Lake up in northern Muskegon County. Blue Lake does mainly classical music, but also does some jazz on the radio there. And Buck Matthews, if you remember him from doing the weather for many years on Wood TV, has gone in to do some fundraising and announcing for them. And Buck is still alive. He is, I believe, 96, maybe 95 or 96. But Blue Lake is your mellow station if they're doing classical music right there. But they do an absolutely great job. And one of my, I forget which daughter it was that went to Blue Lake for 2 years. Is that right?
Wait, what? No, 3.
3 it was?
I did 1 summer of camp and I did 2 summers in Europe. Some of my absolute fondest memories.
Mm-hmm.
And Marie went too. She attended for art.
Okay, yeah, and it's really a great camp. It really is. It's on Blue Lake, which is a lake nobody swims in, right?
No.
Wasn't there some kind of
want to.
parasite in it or something? Because the lake isn't built up at all around. It's got the camp, and that's it.
Well, and one of the philosophies of camp is that they keep you really, really busy. So I would walk past the swimming pools because you can't swim in the lake. So they have swimming pools and there's a lifeguard sitting there. I don't think I ever saw a person in the pool.
Really?
Because when would you go? Because at camp, you're singing 5.5 hours a day. And then in the international program, sometimes you would rehearse as much as 8 hours a day in the 10 days that you were there. So when would anyone go jump in a pool? When I wasn't singing, I was taking a nap.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. And of course, we drove back that one day into the big thunderstorm. We talked about that one day.
Both of our kids went there too. Alex holds the record. He went there 5 summers.
5 summers. Wow.
Every summer for choir and music theater.
Did you play piano then or no?
I never played piano at Blue Lake. It was all singing.
Okay. All singing. but you are an excellent piano player now.
Anyways, we'll have a talent show another time.
Okay.
Okay, so happy
Cinco de Mayo. Yes, indeed.
Everyone celebrates the Mexican victory over France in the Battle of Puebla, which made me wonder where that was. And it's a little bit southeast of Mexico City. And it has become a day to celebrate Mexican American culture, very popular in the United States.
Right. It's very popular in the United States. And I'm going to say it's more popular in some places in the United States than it is even in Mexico. Cinco de Mayo was, a great victory, but it, like I said, it isn't the number one big, huge, only event in Mexico. And you got the star there where it is. Mexico City is an interesting, we had to talk about that city, and the climate there is, some people would say is wonderful, but it's got mountains around it, which kind of traps the air, which makes it kind of susceptible to smog and air pollution.
Mexico City is high on my bucket list. There's some beautiful old churches there. I would love to go. It
is, and it's a big city. I mean, what is it? Is it as big as New York?
It must be close.
I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely a big city. But
let me make a note of that. We can talk about that tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, on this day, the first Michigan state capitol was completed, but it was the territorial courthouse because Michigan wasn't yet a state. It was in Detroit, and they moved it to Lansing in 1847, and there was a whole lot of drama about where to move it. Some people thought it would be better to not have all the power concentrated in Detroit, and that Lansing would be more defendable because Detroit was so close to Canada. And at the time, most people didn't even know what Lansing, where it was, and they had to give it a name. So it didn't have the name Lansing, and they came up with that because it was named after a New York statesman, and then there was also a town in New York called Lansing.
And we had a photographer over at WZZM, and his first name was Lance, and his last name was Ing. So his name was Lansing. Yes,
that's amazing. Was that on purpose?
No, not on purpose at all.
It should have been.
And another thing that I should point out is that very often the biggest city in the state is not the state capital. And just look at some of the states around here. They would like something that was more centrally located. So Springfield is the capital of Illinois. Chicago is the big city. Madison, Wisconsin, as opposed to the bigger city, Milwaukee. Let's see. I don't know where does Columbus rank compared to Cleveland and Cincinnati. I don't know. They're all about the same. But Salem, Oregon, Olympia, Washington, not Seattle. So interesting. And the state capital with the most people in it now is Phoenix, Arizona. I never thought that would ever happen.
Fun fact. All right. On this day, 1995, Bill Clinton gave the commencement address at Michigan State University. So here's your question. Where did he graduate from undergraduate?
Undergraduate. It wouldn't be, I don't think it'd be the University of Arkansas.
I will give you a hint. It is a university that you gave some coin to back in the day on my behalf.
Really? I gave some coin to. Back when? On your behalf?
And your hint is Hoya Saxa.
Georgetown?
Yay. Very good.
Oh, okay. He graduated from Georgetown.
He graduated from Georgetown.
I was probably told that later on. And then wasn't he like a Rhodes Scholar to England or something like that? Or
something like that. I think he went to Yale for law school.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
I spent 2 summers studying there in college.
Yeah, you've gotten around, law degree, SMU, and yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I had a great time there. I heard Walter Williams speak both summers, if you're into economists.
Yeah, he's passed away recently, but a great mind, and he could think on his feet.
He's a comedian.
He did radio, too, for a while.
That was the thing with the economics professors, and the ones at Hillsdale were the same. They were like comedians that you would pay to go and listen to. The classes were always so engaging. Yeah, it's really, really interesting. Well, a lot of those people kind of backed into the radio thing. They started out doing something else. But Walter Williams had all of this knowledge in the back of his head about, GDP per capita, this and that. And now, how do you remember all of that? I don't know. So I took this picture myself. This was up north just a handful of years ago, just some blossoms that I thought were pretty. They are pretty. Are those apple blossoms, do you know, or cherry? Probably cherry, but I don't know. I was always trying to grow things in the backyard that usually just ended up dying. I tried both apples and cherries at various points.
The blossoms aren't quite out here yet, but they should be right about on time. I've written down that the peak blossom time is somewhere around April 5 to 12 or so in here in Grand Rapids, and so we should be pretty close to that this year. Neat.
And here's our John Scully photos for the day. Lovely. Lovely to see the signs of spring.
Very nice. Very pretty flower there all by itself. Well, there's one down on the bottom there too. What kinds of clouds are those? Those are high cirrus clouds that are connected with the system, the high-level system that's coming on through. With a system like this is called a bowling ball, and you tend to get a couple of different layers of clouds. So if you get under one of these bands of precipitation, it gets pretty dark and gloomy, but then the low clouds clear out, and you're left with just the high clouds like this. And you can see they're high, thin, made up of tiny ice crystals. Kind of pretty to see. By the way, look, no leaves on the trees here compared to Birmingham.
I think this was taken today or yesterday.
And he would be up north toward the Traverse City area. But yeah, even here, there's some trees that are starting to come out a little bit here, but a lot of them really haven't shown much growth yet.
Okay, so I don't want to jinx it yet because I don't officially have the days off work, but I'm trying to arrange to come up this week so that we can go to the Best of Grand Rapids party.
Oh, that would be fun.
So fingers crossed that we can get all that worked out. And I have a whole list. I want to go to the old time streets of Grand Rapids at the museum. I want to go to Noto's. I want to walk around downtown. So I hope it works out because I really want to come up.
Sounds great. If not, we'll do that at a later date, but hopefully you'll come up this time. And it's not impossible that I could have all three of my daughters at the Best of Grand Rapids event, which is at the Bingui Center Friday night.
That would be fun. And random shout out to Keith Thompson, who ran the 10K in Kalamazoo over the weekend. That's a huge accomplishment. If you're watching, congratulations.
Right. Wow. That's really cool. For those of you that don't know who he is, he does the weather on WWMT, or we would call it WWMT, but Channel 3 in Kalamazoo. And he's a meteorologist that's been there for a long time.
I can't believe you just said that.
Well, I'm just telling you a fact. That's all. I mean,
Yes.
they have a name for us too.
We're independent. We can say whatever we want.
Yeah, but no, I think the meteorologists in West Michigan are all solid and do a very good job. I mean, I'm kind of partial to the team at Wood that I work with, but yeah.
Yeah, well, you can't just run a 10K. A ton of work goes into that. So congratulations, Keith, and to everyone who ran a race this weekend and to everyone who's got the Riverbank Run coming up. And it's always a cruel fate when you have to choose between the Riverbank Run and Tulip Time. So good luck making your choice.
Yes, one's in the morning, one's in the afternoon. And we used to do both. I used to do the 5K walk at Riverbank Run, and
somewhere there's a photo, if I can find it, of you and I holding up our 5K walk ribbons.
Yeah, and do you remember the 10K we did? We did a 10K.
With,
I wound up walking, and we came in like half an hour behind the third slowest person.
Jen DeBoer with Terry's youngest.
Was it? Could have been.
Yeah, the Metro 5K and 10K, and we ended up doing both.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
5K.
we did the 5K and then walked the 10K, and Jen did it with us, and she was like 10 years old at the time, and she walked 9 miles with us.
Yeah, that's neat. Yeah. Wow, time flies, doesn't it? Really is.
Somewhere I've got the picture of us with our 5K ribbons, which I don't want to like demean anyone's accomplishment. Wherever you're at in life, if you get out and do something, good for you. So I'll try to find that and we'll put it up for you. We'll put it up on the show.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
By the way, all right, I'll wrap things up here. I want to thank everybody for watching and staying till the end. Hope you have yourself a fantastic day today. Thanks again.